blaming the backlash on what they say are paid troublemakers. President Trump took to social media yesterday to claim, without any evidence, that these troublemakers were attending and disrupting town hall meetings as part of a game for Democrats. Similar sentiments were expressed last week by House Speaker Mike Johnson, who claimed those speaking out against GOP policies were simply unhappy Dems. Over the weekend, Senator Roger Marshall of Kansas even walked out of a town hall early after he was confronted by constituents. And then he claimed to NBC News that those speaking out at that town hall were, quote, people from the big city. Which one? Here's one exchange from that town hall, followed by Senator Marshall's description of those who questioned him.
Is doing right now as far as cutting out those jobs, a huge percentage of those people, and I don't know if you care about the veterans. The veterans.
Yes.
And that is a damn shame.
Yes. Yeah.
That is a damn shame.
I'm not a Democrat, but I'm worried about the veterans, man. That's it.
Well, I yielded to one of my elders, and I appreciate his comments. I think it's a great. I'm not gonna. We don't have time for everyone to stand up. I do got 2 more commitments today. Appreciate everybody making the drive out, and God bless America. Thank you. All right.
Take pictures with you, buddy, right?
So the big disappointment was, here's a county, 3,000 people, less than 3,000. They're all connected to agriculture. So they wouldn't let me talk about agriculture or rural America. So people from the big city drove 5 hours so they could silence rural people who really are on tough times right now. Over 85% of people in that county voted for President Trump. I looked at the car tags, okay? I'm not done. All I have to do is look at the car tags. When there's more Mercedes-Benz there than there are pickup trucks, I know they're not from rural America.
From what we saw in the video just now, it seemed to counter the senator's claims. You heard the boos when he walked out. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries pushed back on those very GOP claims yesterday, saying, we don't need to send paid protesters into your town hall meetings. The American people are with us. And Molly, this dovetails nicely to what you've been writing about, because there are some in the Democratic Party who suggest the Dems should sort of lie back right now, like to stay out of the way, let the Republicans kind of damage themselves. But you take the opposite approach.
Yeah, I think that's a huge mistake, especially because we've seen Republicans unable or unwilling to protect norms and institutions, right? We did not see any senators, any Republican senators stand up for the norms and institutions of the cabinet secretaries, their Article 2 responsibility. They were, I don't know if they're all in on the MAGA agenda or scared of the MAGA agenda, but whatever it is, we did not see them stand up for the norms and institutions that we love so dearly in this country. And so it falls to the Democrats. And I think there's a real anger in this country, and we've seen it. There's a punter called Chris Cluey who's been talking about it in these town hall meetings. There's this kind of, and I'm not sure that Democratic politicians see it or even understand it or even like it. They have really pushed back against this groundswell of people, but you're seeing throughout the country protests and a lot of anger. And remember, these cuts haven't even really happened yet. So we still have this fulsome federal government. It is going to be the cuts they're talking about are humongous. And remember, 30% of the federal government is veterans. So you're going to see a lot of jobless veterans. And I have trouble imagining that the people who are so angry are going to feel better when they are confronted with the reality of lots of local jobless veterans.
I think it would have been quite a newsflash to the gentleman that stood up in that Kansas meeting talking about veterans, that he was a big city slicker that came in from a Mercedes, or the second guy who spoke, who was wearing a U.S. Army shirt. I mean, I don't know. Maybe Roger Marshall is now going to say that primetime Fox News hosts who are complaining about veterans being fired from the Pentagon after serving this country honorably for 20 years, I wonder if Senator Marsh would say that they're big city slickers. You know, we've all seen town hall meetings, and we've all seen things where you have people from the outside that come in to make a point. You also can tell when it's a groundswell. We saw it in 2009 during the Obamacare debate. We saw people like our own Claire McCaskill going out and thousands of people being there complaining about not being able to keep their own doctor. We saw that across the country when in the 1990s we had to make some pretty tough cuts to balance the budget. You know, I had people that supported me the entire way saying, balance the budget, Joe, balance the budget, Joe. The second we started to balance the budget and started to make cuts, people showed up at town hall meetings. What you did is you sat there, you listened, you explained what you were trying to do, and if there was any way that you can round off the sharpest of the edges, you took that as a great chance to learn and take it back to Washington in your subcommittees, your committee, on the House floor. That's how democracy works. That's how our constitutional republic works. You have these Republicans running out of town hall meetings, scared. That's a bad sign. You don't want to do that. You listen to your constituents and you respond. And even, Jackie, even Republicans on Capitol Hill, I know you know this, but I mean, tell us what your reporting has shown, have complained about the DOGE cuts being, well, first of all, not being transparent, the process not being transparent, but also being so random that you do get the wrong people fired at times. And now a lot of Republicans very concerned about massive cuts in Medicaid when anywhere from 33 to 50% of children in red state America, in rural America, actually get their health care from Medicaid.
There are certainly a lot of complaints about sort of the philosophical approach here, and some of the decisions that are being made there are really anathema, I think, to the MAGA movement. For example, why hasn't defense spending been targeted the way that some of these other areas have been targeted right now? I mean, there's a huge constituency in the America First movement that has wanted to slash sort of what they call the industrial defense industry, and they're not seeing that happen, but they're now seeing issues that directly affect their constituents happening. And Joe, I mean, you know this firsthand. I mean, this is legislating in Congress 101 when, you know, there are some things that you can sort of avoid on a national level. But when you're at these town halls and you're in the district and these things are bubbling up right off the bat from constituents, that's when you know that there is a problem bubbling there. My colleague Emily Davies wrote an incredible piece about a National Park Service ranger who was fired during the first round of cuts, who voted for Donald Trump because she thought she was going to get free in vitro fertilization through the government. This profile goes through how she's now regretting that vote. I think there are lots of people like her that we're going to keep hearing from in the next few months, years.
Yeah, and some of those folks will be populating the Capitol tonight as guests of Democratic lawmakers. Jackie Alemany, thank you so much. And we absolutely look forward to you coming on board as an MSNBC Washington correspondent and co-host of MSNBC's The Weekend. Congrats again.